Hi, and welcome to the Story of Cooking. I'm Sarah Nicholas. Hi, and welcome to the Story of Cooking. I'm Sarah Nicholas. This show explores people and their unique story of cooking. Each week, we're going to look at another story and how you can create that in your own home. You don't have to be a 4-star chef, but have a love for cooking and an interest in history, and you can create a fabulous meal. This week, we have the pleasure of my husband, Evan, coming on the show.
Hello.
We're going to talk about Sicilian comfort food and his story of cooking growing up. So I am from Virginia, which everyone knows by this point. I moved to New York last year, and I got new in-laws and a newfound appreciation for Italian food. My mother-in-law her family is from Sicily, so today we're going to try to do 3 traditional Sicilian recipes.
That my family always had to, around the holidays or just on every Sunday when we'd all get together at my grandparents' house. It's the way my family and I remember my childhood and the comfort of home and the food that we had that maybe some of your families had as well or is new to you as well.
Cool. So, we're going to get you started marinating the chicken.
Okay.
Do you know how to do this? Have you ever
Tell me
done
what
this
to do.
recipe before?
No,
Okay.
when growing up we had these as kids, so we typically sat in the playroom or whatever waiting for the food, and my mother and grandmother would always make the food.
Okay,
So this is new to me.
so you don't know what you're doing, so you don't know if I'm doing it not like your grandmother.
No.
Okay, good. So we are gonna make lemon chicken. I always hear about this lemon chicken from his childhood, so I decided we'd start with that. We're gonna start with dark meat chicken with the skin on and the bone in, because that's probably how they did it, right?
It was typically drumsticks and breast and
Okay.
that nature.
Well, we're gonna use thighs and drumsticks. I guess you can use white meat as well. I just like dark meat. So we are going to marinate it. I'll let you do the marinade. We're gonna use lemon juice, which is a nice pretty green knife for you, and olive oil, and some garlic. So all we're gonna do, we're gonna take 3 cloves of garlic and we're going to smash it and crush it. And it's gonna go into the bowl. So you wanna do that?
Sure.
Okay, go for it. Let's see how your kitchen skills are. Apparently, allegedly, he said he used to cook all the time. I don't see him cook at all anymore, so
Not allowed in the kitchen anymore.
yes. So Sicilian food is actually a little different than Italian food because there are a lot of people that immigrated, put it in the bowl, immigrated to Sicily, not just Italians. There's a lot of Spanish influence, Arab influence, Greek influence as well. Just what cultures came to Sicily over 2 millennia. All right, you're doing pretty good. Smash it a little more. You want all that flavor. Another interesting fact is the first cookbook author, or the first known name of a cookbook author was a Greek Sicilian named Matthias in 5th century BC. So Sicily's credited with that title as well. First cookbook author. All right. You're doing okay. I'm gonna help you.
Yeah, why don't you do that?
You need help. Okay, so he's doing 3 cloves of garlic. All right, you want to squeeze that
Sure thing.
into the bowl? Try not to get seeds. If you get some seeds, that's okay. And then top that with olive oil. So you haven't had this since your grandmother was alive?
No, it was a kind of a traditional Sunday thing that we always had. There would be about 12 or 15 of us, and my grandmother would make it, and I think it was just because of the kids that a lot of times you wouldn't eat the more exotic type of things.
Okay.
That would be served.
Mm-hmm. What would be some of the exotic things that were served?
Like sardines, stuffed sardines, or Milanese sauce, which is with breadcrumbs, just different Italian dishes that we would have, and that my uncle would like a goat's head.
What's goat's head?
lamb's
Oh, yeah. Tell them
Gabasol?
about Gabasol. He played a nasty trick on me when we first got together.
Well, so Sicilians, one of the things my uncle would get would be lamb's head, which in Sicilian is called a cabasol, or gabasol. My pronunciation might be a little off. And it's basically just the lamb's head. And they always told my sister and I that it was a dinosaur, so that we would try it, which sometimes worked for me, but never for my sister, I don't think.
She's smarter than you.
Yes, well, that's typically the way it goes.
So what'd you do to me, though?
I told you to ask my cousin when we went over his house for Easter if we were going to have gabasol, and
So I didn't know what it was.
yeah, he had no idea, because we always have either leg of lamb or just lamb for Easter, and which I think many Italians and Greeks do, and lots of people actually these days. So they just got a kick out of it. And
Yeah, I look like an idiot. I was asking for lamb's head. It was
Yeah.
the first time I met the whole family and I asked for lamb's head, but whatever. Okay, so all I did was add olive oil and salt and pepper, and we're gonna let this marinate for at least 30 minutes longer if you have time. And I'm gonna get this area cleaned up, and when we come back, we'll start on our second Sicilian dish. Hi, and we're back, and we're ready to make our gagoots, another traditional Sicilian side dish, right?
Gaguzza, it really is how you pronounce it. I wouldn't go by my pronunciation as a fact or not. But it's a kind of it was always a summer dish that we would get, and a lot of my uncles would grow them in their backyards. They're these huge, long, green, trumpet-looking things. They look like an instrument almost. That you would make a salad.
So we don't have that, but we have this. Will that work?
Yes.
That is summer squash. We're going to use summer squash instead of the gagoots. The gagutza. The gagutza.
However you like to pronounce it.
Okay, so we are going to start with, do you want to do this? We're going to start with some garlic. We're going to dice that up, and we're going to put that in the pan first. So Sicily has a very fertile climate for growing vegetables, grapes for wine. Mount Etna is the volcano that is in Sicily, and it's really good to keep the ground fertile, but it's also an active volcano still. So it's got its good and its bad qualities, but definitely helps the vegetables grow in Sicily as well as the grapes, because Sicily is also well known for their wine.
Good.
Okay, so I'll dice it up a little bit more. This is 3 garlic cloves, and we are also going to dice our onions. You want to start that? Just move some of the stuff out of the way. So gagoots is kind of like a French ratatouille. If you guys know what that is, it's a, how would you describe it? It's a vegetable
It's
stew.
kind of a vegetable stew,
Ish.
stewish. You can eat it warm or cold. Usually I ate it cold when I came home and would eat it as a leftover.
All right, so I am just sauteing the garlic. And to this, we're going to add our other vegetables, our onion. You can throw the onion in there. Do you like a lot of onion?
Sure.
Do another onion. Okay, so we're gonna put onion and peppers. I will start the peppers. Another side dish that's really popular in Sicily is couscous. Do you know where couscous actually, well, besides coming from Sicily, do you know where that originated from?
No.
Trapani, which is in the western corner of Sicily, is close to Africa, and so it's actually an African influence. But you find a lot of couscous in Sicily as well, correct?
Yes.
So what was your favorite side dish growing up?
You know, side dish for us, we had pasta with everything.
Oh,
We had
tell me a little bit
salad.
about that. So there's 3 courses, right, in a Sicilian meal?
Yes, and I always just thought it was every meal, so when I would go eat over friends' houses, and they wouldn't have them, it'd be quite odd. We would start off with our pasta. We would then have our meat course, or fish. Typically that's where the chicken would come in, the lemon chicken on Sunday. And we would have a lot of that. It's quite funny, I see you making 4 pieces, and we usually have 40 or 50 because it'd be a large Italian family eating.
Yeah.
And then after the chicken, we probably have more pasta with meat sauce or something of that nature.
Okay.
Maybe spaghetti and meatballs. Again, a lot of it was catered towards the children, and my uncles and my father would eat anything that was put out, so that wouldn't be a real big problem for them. So the next course might be something like stuffed sardines or something of that nature that maybe the kids wouldn't want to eat so much or even try, and they would just move on to something more traditional for us to say like spaghetti and meatballs or some kind of a pasta dish.
So to the pot, I added the peppers, which I just chopped up pretty well, almost diced, and then I added the summer squash, which is our gugutsa. Just cut those in little discs.
See, now you can do it differently, however whatever family is cooking it. Ours were always cubed, it seemed. I do think they were like that as well, but I remember always being cubed.
I think this is prettier. Okay, so I'm just gonna add some salt and pepper, and we're just sauteing it. Can you hand me the pepper?
Sure.
Thank you. Sauteing it so it gets a little soft, a little color. And then, the next thing we're gonna do is add our potatoes. I'll let you peel the potatoes.
Sure.
Can you handle that?
I can try.
Okay. There you go. So, when you were a bachelor, what kind of dishes would you make for yourself? Because you didn't have your mommy cooking for you all the time.
Not all the time. Anything that could fit in a microwave, I cooked.
Okay.
Now, actually, I would cook it. You know, I would cook just about anything once I kind of taught myself how to do it. Obviously, not on your level, but exactly, who is? But just about anything. I would cook fish and chicken and steak or whatever. Make it myself just about anything.
Right.
Nothing exotic like this. This is something I would leave to the professionals or to the family to do.
Well, you're doing a good job.
Well, thank you.
So to this dish, we're going to just keep adding more vegetables. It's a vegetable dish. The next thing we're going to add are some celery and tomatoes, right? We said it was kind of like a ratatouille. We're going to add tomatoes. We're going to dice some tomatoes. Probably should have used a smaller knife for this. I'm just taking out the top, the core, so I can dice them. How are you doing there?
Oh, great.
Do you know the trick to not making potatoes turn brown?
No.
So if you peel potatoes and just leave them sitting there like that, they'll actually turn in color. So you want to keep them in water. But we're going to throw them in the pot pretty quickly, so we're not going to worry too much about that. What about sweets?
Sweets as a kid, again, you got to remember a lot of these meals and dishes I had when I was a child, so it was something that was always based that the kids would like. So we would have for desserts, we would have a lot of different either pastries or cookies, lots of cannolis for the kids. You know, we always had the cream, and they were already pre-made. We never did the make-your-own cannoli type of a thing, but a lot of different cookies, lemon cookies, I remember.
What about struffoli? Oh, that's Italian, that's not Sicilian.
No, but we did. You know, the crossover that we had, a lot of it was when growing up, we didn't call it a Sicilian dish or an Italian dish. These are dishes that we had. So even to this day, I can get confused whether I'm having a traditional Sicilian dish or a traditional Italian dish. It tasted good to us, and something you grew up as a tradition, you had it. Much the same probably other households or different backgrounds.
Gotcha. Okay. You want to chop one of these with me so we can get this in the pan? It's cooking fast.
Okay.
So in Sicily, actually what's really popular is candy making, believe it or not. Did you have candy?
We had some, but not much. Again, it was more of, I can always remember the cannolis with the fake fruit in them, which I could never stand.
That doesn't sound good. The candy makers back in the day in Sicily were actually in the monasteries. Did you know that?
No, I did not.
Yeah, so they made candy in monasteries. Very well known. And they still do it to this day, I believe, in Palermo? Palermo?
Palermo.
Palermo. Okay, so we're adding the potatoes. Just keep throwing them in as you get them chopped. And this is just going to stew on the stove until the potatoes are cooked through, really, because they'll be the hardest thing to cook. All right. Let's add a little oregano, dried oregano. Some salt and pepper, maybe. It's over there. Sprinkle some salt and grab the pepper. A few turns, as much as you like. Is this traditional seasoning?
Again, this is not something that I helped prepare, but it's, you know, Italians are pretty, from what I saw, it's pretty simple in the way that they did a lot of their cooking.
The last thing we're gonna add is stewed tomatoes into the pot. About 2 cups of stewed tomatoes. And we're gonna reduce that down to a simmer. And we're just gonna let it go on the stove again until the potatoes are cooked through. And then we should have our perfect gaguzza. I like saying it the Sicilian way.
Very good, like a little Sicilian princess.
Yes. All right, so we're gonna finish up our chicken because that has been marinating for half an hour-ish, right?
Yes.
Okay. So, one last ingredient for the chicken. No, 2 last ingredients for the chicken. More lemon, because it is, after all, lemon chicken. So just do some lemon slices.
Sure.
There you go. I'm just gonna lay it out in a casserole dish. See all the garlic and the olive oil in there. Just like so. And you can go ahead and drizzle the marinade over the chicken as well.
Here you go.
Okay, you can lay it on there. However you like it. And then the last ingredient is our oregano. Fresh is good. You could use dried. Put that over top of it. We're gonna throw that in a 375-degree oven for about an hour until the skin's nice and crisp and the chicken's cooked through. We're gonna get this area cleaned up, and when we come back, we're gonna make spadini. Hi, and we're back, and we're ready to start our spadini. What is spadini?
Spadini is a veal roll with cheese, breadcrumbs, and maybe vanilla nuts or different ingredients.
All right. So the first thing I added was diced onion. I'm making this stuffing, right? This is a stuffed veal?
Yes.
Stuffed veal, right? Okay. So I'm adding onions and garlic. Always garlic, right?
Yes.
You
Lots
wanna-
of garlic.
And pine nuts.
Yes.
Pine nuts. You want to toast my pine nuts for me?
Sure.
Make sure they don't burn. So Sicilians, like I said earlier, have a lot of Arab influence. And this kind of demonstrates that in this dish as well. The Arabs brought a lot of melons, rice, saffrons, raisins, pine nuts. So this kind of has a little Arab influence, don't you think?
Yes.
I just added currants. I'm going to add Parmesan. So you said this was like a holiday special thing?
Yes, I mean, you could have it as a regular meal at any time as well, but I always remember it first coming along around Christmas or whatever, just when we would have a large gathering with family and friends, and it would be one of the many dishes that would be served along with the food that we had, because it would always be, it seems like, 100 different dishes now looking back, but it was, it would be with pasta again or the other meats.
What about the tradition you introduced me to this Christmas?
Which one is that? I thought there was quite a few.
The fishes, the 7 fishes.
Oh, well, the 7 fishes, we always did that. Whether that is a Sicilian thing or an Italian thing, I don't know. And if you do, you look into it. I actually looked into it once. Is it 7 fishes? What are the 7 dishes that you're supposed to have? You can find anywhere from it being 7 fishes that are supposed to be to 12 to 21 or whatever. I think, again, that kind of depends on the family and what their traditions were. My father tried to cheat one year and he put all 7 in a bouillabaisse, and so I didn't feel like that was the traditional 7. But we would always have a different number of 7 fishes: lobster, shrimp, clams, stuffed clams.
And this year they let me bring my fish in.
Yes, we had fried oysters, southern fried oysters, which were delicious, and never turned those down. But a lot of calamari, a lot of squid, a lot of either stuffed or salad, the octopus salad, pupa. Yeah, I don't want to mess that
No,
up.
you're doing fine.
Okay.
So to the stuffing, I added breadcrumbs as well and parsley. So it's easy as that, right?
Yes.
Let's add a little salt and pepper. And olive oil. A lot of olive oil, right?
Always a lot of olive oil. You can't go wrong with olive oil. Olive oil and garlic, the staples of any good Italian meal.
All right, let's add a little more olive oil. Okay. So there's every household does spadini a little differently too, right?
Yeah, I believe so. I think it's kind of, with any of these dishes, you can always add to the taste of the family or who you're cooking for, or your own. Whether it's more cheese, less cheese, different types. Even the panoli nuts, some people leave them out. Some
Okay,
people
that's
add them
good. Good enough. Okay, so these panoli nuts that are toasted go in the stuffing as well. So now we're going to assemble our spadini. You want to show me how to do that?
Why don't you go? You're the professional.
Okay. So just mix up the stuffing, and here we have veal scallops, and it's best if they're thin, right, to
Yes.
roll, because you're going to stuff them. Probably about 2 inches wide or a little over, and about at least 6 inches long. So we'll do that now and throw them in a baking dish. Any other childhood favorites you want to talk about, Evan?
Well, these can either be breaded first or done this way. It's really, again, it's to your liking. And what my mother always did was she would either put a bay leaf in between or in each individual spadini, and then use toothpicks to hold them together. So it really, again, it kind of, my uncles did it a different way than my mother did. It's kind of, I think they always try different things, and even when we would look for recipes, there would be something written in pencil that would have something crossed out, or everybody's recipe was different, and it was just a trial and error type of a thing that they would do.
I'm doing mine like enchiladas.
Okay, that's a different way.
Okay, so you don't have to watch me do all these. I'm gonna just finish this pan up, stuff each one of them, and then I'm gonna take a slice of onion, put them in between each of the rolls with a bay leaf, drizzle them with a little olive oil, and pop them in a 350-degree oven for about 20 minutes. They don't take long to cook because the veal is very thin. In the meantime, we're gonna get cleaned up, and when we come back, we will have our Sicilian feast plated and ready to go. Hi, and we're back, and we have all of our dishes ready to go. I'm gonna serve Evan up some Sicilian food, see if it does his childhood memories justice.
Everything looks great.
We got
Sure it will.
gaguzza, and some lemon chicken. Dig in.
Okay.
What do you think?
Don't forget the spadini.
I'm not.
Chicken's cooked perfectly.
What do you think?
Delicious. It actually, it tastes just the way I remember it. It's been years since I've had it. Let's see the boots.
Thank you, my love. So the lemon chicken, again, is really simple. It's just got lemon, oregano, olive oil, garlic.
Very good.
Very simple, very good. Just trying the spadini now. The spadini, again, is just stuffed rolled veal, some currants and breadcrumbs, little parsley, onions. You take big bites. Now you can't speak.
I'll let you do all the talking. It's excellent.
All
I'd
right.
rather concentrate on eating.
Okay. Well, thank you, Evan, and thank you for joining me on this chapter of the Story of Cooking. I'm Sarah Nicholas. I'll see you next time.